Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the mundane. One thing that we strive for is we strive to make our conversation less than fascinating so that you can feel free to drift off or to relax, and hopefully you'll find your bliss. I want to thank you for joining us. We hope you will listen and sleep. I'm your host, Marco Timpano, and this is a part 2, and I'm welcoming back Daniel Krolik. Welcome back to the Insomnia Project.
Thank you, Marco.
Daniel, we spoke about plays and playwrights, and we started to go off on a little bit of a tangent of musicals, and I said we have to have a part 2. So let's talk about musicals. In particular, let's talk about Broadway musicals.
Sure.
What is a Broadway musical that you would recommend to someone who's never really seen a musical, a good introduction musical to the novice?
I'm always sort of hesitant.
Okay.
I think everybody loves Guys and Dolls.
Okay.
I think everybody loves Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
So those might be my go-tos for people who say, "Oh, well, I don't like musicals very much," or "I don't know anything." I think those might be two good gateway shows for people who don't either know or like the art form.
I'm going to ask you what I asked in the last episode, which was you would mention a play, and I would mention what you thought of the film adaptation of it. So
Sure.
What are your thoughts of the film adaptation of Little Shop of Horrors?
They're good.
Yeah.
They're good. I mean, it came out when I was, I think, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years old. So from that early age, it left a huge impression on me. I like movies that I like musical adaptations that commit to film a stage performance.
Okay.
So if for nothing else, and it's a very good movie, but if for nothing else, the fact that Little Shop of Horrors got Ellen Green's performance as Audrey on film, that alone makes it important.
I see. I want to talk to you about a playwright. Would you call a person who writes musicals a playwright?
Who are you?
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Well, he's a composer.
Composer.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's so associated with so many musicals, right? So he's the composer, and then who's the, like, does he work with a partner who then writes the lyrics, or how does that work?
Well, he's worked with, over his career, he's worked with a number of different lyricists.
I see.
And a number of different librettists.
Okay.
Because...
So what's the difference between the two? Now we're going to get into specifics.
Well,
because I just think, when I hear Andrew Lloyd Webber, I think Cats, Evita, all his shows.
As you should.
That are his, and you just, one assumes, or I assume wrongly, that he's done the whole thing, but clearly he hasn't.
He has not. He has, throughout his career, he has only ever... Unless, if I'm mistaken, he has only ever written the music, and he does not write the lyrics, and he does not write the script.
So what's the difference? So he writes, like, he'll be on a piano, and he'll write the melodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he'll have someone else who will write the lyrics to a song. And then you said
A librettist or a book writer who will write the script.
The script, so that if the musical has talking parts, that's what they write. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And generally speaking, the book writer will shape the show.
Oh,
the
I
book
see.
writer is the one who forms the narrative, who structures the show.
Now, in a musical, there would also be a dramaturge. Could there be?
There could be.
Okay.
Not necessarily, but there certainly could be.
Okay, well, look at that. Look at all the things one learns. We should explain what a dramaturge is. Someone who, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, looks at the play and makes sure that it makes sense and things that are written about are correct, and sort of looks at the overall picture to ensure that it's...
and also something that a dramaturge can do, which I find particularly useful. I haven't worked with too many in my career, but if the show takes place during any particular era, the dramaturge will do a lot of research and put certain events in the show in some sort of historical context and answer questions about whatever was going on in the period that the show was set.
I see. Okay. Now, back to Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Sure.
What do you think of his musicals, and what is your favorite and least favorite?
Well, he's an easy person to disparage and to make fun of, but because I'm from a particular generation. One of my earliest exposures to musical theater was Cats.
Okay.
So, Cats and Joseph too, because Joseph is such a popular show. Before I discovered works that might be more adult, more sophisticated, I knew all of the songs in Cats. I knew all of the songs in Joseph from a very early age. I think, even though I've never seen it on stage, I think Evita is such a terrific piece of work.
Right. Now, one can appreciate a musical even if you don't see it by just listening to the soundtrack, would you say?
For sure.
Is there a musical that you haven't seen, but you've listened to the soundtrack that you're like, I would really love to see this on stage?
Yeah, there's a bunch. I love, in particular, the musical version of Zorba. Are you familiar with the film Zorba the Greek?
Yeah, that's with
Anthony Quinn.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there was.
I've never seen it, but I'm familiar with the. Okay.
Yeah,
There was a musical.
A musical adaptation of Zorba written by Kander and Ebb, who are the gentlemen who wrote Cabaret, Chicago, Kiss of the Spider Woman. They wrote the song New York, New York.
Oh, that was in a musical?
No, they wrote it for.
They
wrote it for the movie with Liza and Robert De Niro.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was this musical about Zorba the Greek called?
Zorba.
Oh, it's called Zorba.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Like, it's just, you're like an encyclopedia. I've said this on the other podcast. Tell me about a musical flop that you are the most sort of in awe of.
Oh, I have a lot.
Okay.
I have a lot.
Well, let's talk a little bit about musical flops. What makes a musical flop?
Oh, it could be anything.
Okay.
It could be badly timed. It could open during the winter where they couldn't get an audience. It could be a reviewer who got up on the wrong side of bed and wrote a cranky review. It could be a show with a lot of wonderful elements, but stuff that was insurmountable, stuff that couldn't work. So,
like, would Spider-Man fall into that? Because that was a recent flop.
Yeah.
That just like they tried so hard.
And Spider-Man is such a singular case.
Right.
I have to say that I recently read a book called Song of Spider-Man, which was written by Glenn Berger, who wrote the book, the libretto to Spider-Man the Musical, and it's his account of what transpired over the course of the show.
Oh, wow.
And the thing is that flops are less and less common because musicals in this day and age, they're so expensive to mount.
Right.
So usually producers will have some sort of not insurance, but will budget it so that they could run at least a few months. So musicals from the 70s and 80s, for example, that ran one night or 1 week,
right,
those are less and less common.
I see.
Because it takes so much capital to get something on its feet.
So if you were to pick your favorite flops, what would they be?
I have a couple. I talk about this a lot, but I love the show Merrily We Roll Along.
Never heard of it.
It's a Stephen Sondheim show.
Oh, okay.
Which deals with a group of three friends. And it starts off when they just graduated college and they move to New York and they have these big dreams. And it ends with them becoming very disillusioned with each other, full of cynicism, full of bitterness about how their lives turned out. But the story moves backwards.
Okay.
So the story will start off with the end of their friendship, and then each scene is set just a few years before the previous one, and it'll move backwards in time so the show ends at the beginning.
Oh, wow. And have you ever seen this on stage?
I was in it.
Oh, you were in it? Okay.
When I was in summer camp when I was, I think, 14.
Okay.
And I've seen it twice. I saw a college production, and the Shaw Festival did it many years ago.
So even though it was a flop, it's still being done?
Yeah.
Is it because it's Sondheim?
Yes, because it has, the themes are really penetrating. The themes of ideals and success and how success can make or break a relationship. And it has a magnificent score, and it's a show that is almost never done in the same version twice because there's been so many edits, and the book writer, the script writer, has changed it so much. So it's a show that 30 odd years later, it's still in a state of evolution.
Wow. And when we talk about Sondheim, does he have a particular style? Because I know there's a lot of sort of musical composers or writers that have a specific style. What is his style?
I would say, and it's difficult because he's written, he wrote Sweeney Todd, which takes place in Victorian England.
Right.
And then he wrote Company, which takes place in Manhattan in the 70s.
Okay.
And he adapts himself to the style. So even though those two particular shows take place in very disparate eras,
right.
You could still tell that it's a Sondheim show. I guess because, I don't know, his trademarks are lyrical density.
Okay.
Challenging music.
Oh, he has challenging music.
Yeah.
Is he the one that has the most challenging music? I know that there's another guy. Oh, Daniel, this is where
okay.
I really show that I don't know much about this subject.
Don't.
You know the one who you sing really, really fast? There's a lot of words.
Gilbert and Sullivan?
Yeah, I think that's who it is. Who there's a lot. It did.
Like the Pirates of Penzance?
Okay, that's
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's exactly who I'm thinking of. Yeah. Is their work difficult too, Gilbert and Sullivan, to do?
Yeah, you know what? I recently had to learn Modern Major General for a concert show in November. Do you know the song? I Am the Very Model?
I think that's the one that I'm thinking of that is really dense with regards to...
Yeah, and that's what Gilbert and Sullivan were known for, where they were known for their verbal trickery, their patter songs.
Right. Is it a difficult one to learn or sing?
Modern,
for
sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And I haven't had a ton of experience with performing Gilbert and Sullivan, but for sure.
Wow. Is there a musical author or playwright, I don't know what you'd call it, musical person who writes musicals, that you would go see blindly because you just love their works?
Again, Sondheim.
Okay.
Absolutely Sondheim. And also, I brought them up earlier, but Kander and Ebb, who wrote Zorba, Chicago Cabaret.
Okay. Now, what about a musical that you went to with high hopes and left a little bit disappointed?
Oh. There was recently a tour of If Then, which came to Toronto, I guess, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 months ago.
Okay.
It was the musical, I believe it was written by the same people who wrote Next to Normal.
Okay.
Which did extremely well, and which is it's really great. And If Then contained a number of terrific songs.
Okay.
But
any that I would know? None that made it.
No. I mean, and it was an Idina Menzel show originally, so it's a lot of big belting songs. Like her vocal style.
She's one of the people who sang on Frozen.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
And she was Elphaba, the original Elphaba from Wicked.
Yeah. Which I didn't like Wicked. I felt like Wicked. Now, this might be controversial. It's only my personal opinion, but I felt like Act 1 of Wicked Act 2 was exactly like Act 1. It felt the same.
I had a lot of problems with Wicked because I had read the book that it was based on.
Okay.
I had read the Gregory Maguire book, which I fell in love with. And Act 1 is relatively faithful. It makes some changes, but it's relatively faithful. And Act 2 is almost completely new. And does not adhere to the book.
Okay.
And I walked out of Wicked missing a lot of what I loved in the book.
Oh, interesting.
Because the book is very political. It, in accordance with L. Frank Baum, it sort of uses Oz as a political analogy. And I missed a lot of that in the musical, which ended up being just about this love triangle between the two witches. And
Right. It had a lot of theatrical effects and whatnot, but
it's a beautiful show.
Yeah,
it's a beautifully staged show, but
didn't do much for me. But I loved Les Mis. Les Mis I saw when I was like 17, and just loved every minute of it. And I remember I was with a bunch of friends from high school, and a lot of them were like, "Oh, it was so long," and I was like, "It felt like it was over in 20 minutes to me."
I think that show has really stood the test of time.
And why do you think that is? Is it the themes? Is it the music?
I think it's everything.
Okay.
I think the show has a lot of standalone songs, like On My Own or Bring Him Home or And I Dreamed a Dream. A lot of songs that have had a life. outside of the show.
Sure.
Which for a culture that doesn't listen to musicals, it's, but again, it's happening with Hamilton, where Hamilton really has a life outside of people who don't know about Broadway and who don't know about musicals. But I think Les Mis is a ambitious, powerfully written work that I think still resonates.
There you go.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu, fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I ordered the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Score a 2 for $5 deal on a sausage McMuffin with egg and more. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
To tip off this NBA season on FanDuel, you can choose your own rewards, which means you can play your game any way you want.
I get to choose my rewards?
Yep.
Great! Now, excuse me while I lock in.
All customers choose your own reward right now in the FanDuel app. 21 plus and present in select states. 18 plus in Kentucky. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirement, and max wager amount. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What do you think of Hamilton and In the Heights, I believe, is what Lynn...
Yeah.
Lynn...
I'm so taken with Hamilton.
Are you?
I really am. And I think it's one of those works that it came out at just the right moment in history, just the right moment in time. With the end, it came out at the end of the Obama administration, and it was so that it's just something that came out that was perfectly tuned into what was happening in the country, in America, at that given moment in history. It was so perfectly in tune with the culture.
Right. Well, there you go. And okay, I don't know how to say this delicately, so I'll just say it. I never want to see a Disney musical. Okay. I saw Beauty and the Beast on Broadway.
Okay.
And was just like, I don't know. I didn't enjoy it.
That's
I didn't enjoy it at all because I had seen the animated version of it. And it was like, what am I watching here? What I saw in the animated version, and just did not love it.
That's okay. I feel similar. I don't know if I've ever seen the stage version of Beauty and the Beast. The movie is so perfect.
Right.
And I think, and that was, it predated The Lion King.
Right.
And The Lion King was the one that Julie Taymor completely reconceived.
Yes.
So aesthetically, it does not resemble the movie whatsoever.
And what does Julie Taymor do? Like, what is her role?
She's a director.
She directs.
But she also designed, for The Lion King, she also, not completely on her own, but she also designed a lot of the looks and the masks and
how they work and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's why I've always been confused, because I know that she's heralded, in particular with regards to The Lion King.
And she's also lambasted because she was the original director of the Spider-Man musical.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
There you go. Like on the cutting edge there.
Who was let go. Who was very controversially let go from Spider-Man.
What was it that she did or didn't do that caused this? You read this book.
I read this book, right, which I can't recommend highly enough.
Okay.
And again, truth is subjective, and who knows what went down. But she was so ambitious, but she couldn't tell the story clearly enough. And apparently her version of the Spider-Man musical was super ambitious, but just dramaturgically, just very muddy.
Oh, wow.
From what I understand.
You know, we're talking about flops, and they made a musical version of Rocky that didn't last very long.
That didn't do that well, yeah.
And a friend of mine saw it and said the staging of it was incredible.
Yeah, because I think the ring levitates like the boxing ring, from what I understand.
I couldn't tell you more than that, but I just know Mark Andrada saw it and was talking.
And Rocky, the people who wrote the music to Rocky, which I haven't heard yet, wrote the music to Ragtime, which is wonderful work.
Okay.
What
is Ragtime about? I always hear it mentioned.
It's based on this terrific book, and it's sort of what's the word I'm going to look for? a cornucopia. I don't know. It's a big epic work about the struggles in turn of the century New York. So it deals with a family, a very white upper class family who lives in New Rochelle, whose old money came over on the Mayflower. It deals with Jewish immigrants just getting through Ellis Island who are penniless, who work in factories. And it deals with Black people and racial inequality.
Wow.
And it's how characters from all three of these groups intersect and inform each other. But it also fictionalizes a lot of celebrities and a lot of famous people in that era. So J.P. Morgan, Henry Ford, Emma Goldman, they're all characters in this big historical narrative.
Oh, see, I had no idea what it was about, but you always hear, or I always hear, ragtime this, ragtime. Well, is there a song from ragtime that is really popular, or is it... I don't know, there's just something about it I always...
There's a song called Wheels of a Dream, which gets sung a lot. It's a big show, so it doesn't get done a lot, and it's just a big, epic show. And it was also produced by Garth Drabinsky just when his empire was collapsing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so, my goodness. Daniel, you know so much. Now, I asked you this in the previous episode that we did about playwrights.
Yeah.
Is there a actor you would like to see in a musical that you haven't seen yet?
Oh.
I would guess Bernadette Peters.
I've seen her.
Oh, you have?
I saw her in Follies.
Okay. How was she?
She was terrific.
Okay.
And she took... What she did in Follies, which I really liked, was she was playing... a not necessarily likable character.
Okay.
And she didn't do anything to make her more likable.
Okay.
Which I really sort of found commendable and risky.
Right.
I mean, if I could go in a time machine.
Sure.
And if I could see Angela Lansbury.
Okay.
In Sweeney Todd or in Mame, I would do that.
Okay.
I would go back in time 30, 40, 50 years and see Angela Lansbury at her height.
I remember when she was doing Deuce on Broadway because I was working on a cruise ship. On a cruise ship, and we docked in New York, and I would always see these big signs for her.
Yeah, I've never seen her.
Okay.
I mean, I've been fortunate to see a lot of phenomenal performances.
Like, what are some of the phenomenal performances you've seen?
I saw Fun Home recently.
Okay.
I saw Michael. Again, these are not household names, but I saw Michael Cerveris in Fun Home, which is one of the best performances I've seen in my life.
What is Fun Home? I've never.
Fun Home is based on a graphic novel by Alison Bechdel.
Oh, wow.
And it's a memoir. Alison Bechdel is a really well-known cartoonist who happens to be gay. And it's the story of when she was coming out and when she came out to her family.
Oh, wow.
Shortly after she came out, her father subsequently came out.
Wow.
And then sadly stepped in front of a truck on the highway and killed himself.
Oh, my goodness.
And the show takes place, the show is remarkable. The show takes place in several different time eras, and there's 3 actresses who play the role of Allison.
Okay.
So there's a child, a teenager, and a grown woman.
So this is biographical as well?
Yes.
Or is it,
Yeah.
So the graphic novel is biographical, and then this musical is based on the graphic novel. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it's called Fun Home because her father was a funeral director.
Oh, wow.
And the slang was they called the funeral home the Fun Home.
Where does one... I've never even heard of this. Now I want to see it. Was it on Broadway recently?
It was on Broadway. It won the Best Musical Tony. And it's not running anymore, but it did, for a musical about a very risky subject matter, it did very, very well.
Wow. I remember when... what was that musical that didn't do well that was recently on Broadway, and it was about a carnival and sideshow. I think it was called Sideshow.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't do well. Like, it didn't...
No, and that was a revival because I had actually seen the original Sideshow, which was, I guess, maybe like 98 or 99. Mm-hmm.
And what is it about other than a carnival? Once again,
well, it has very risky subject matter. It's about a real life set of Siamese twins, of conjoined twins, and how they were taken from the sideshow, from the freak show, and sort of thrust into the world of entertainment, and how they became sort of cult celebrities.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I do want to mention before we finish that you also do a podcast, and I mentioned in the previous episode that we did, but you do a podcast called Bad Gay Movies, BGM. You want to look it up on iTunes, or it could also stand for Bitchy Gay Men, or you could go to badgaymovies.com.
You sure can.
And hear more from Daniel.
And it's nothing like this.
No, fair enough. But do you ever talk about musical movies, musical adaptations?
We do. Yeah, we did. We did an episode on MAME.
Okay, what is MAME about?
MAME is about, it's based on a very well-known play called Anti-MAME.
Okay.
MAME is about a little boy in the 1920s who is orphaned and who is trusted to the care of his wacky, wealthy flapper aunt, Auntie Mame. And it's sort of about all the adventures that she takes him on.
I see. It seems like a lot of musicals are about orphans. Because you've got
Oliver,
Annie, Oliver, this one, Mame.
There are orphans in Les Mis.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. I guess someone should write a musical called Orphan.
With an exclamation mark, maybe?
Sure.
Yeah.
All about orphans.
Well, that's what you would call the Orphan Black musical. You would just call it Orphan.
Wouldn't that be great? Now, who played in the movie MAME and who was on the original?
Unfortunately for all of us, Angela Lansbury originated the role of MAME.
Okay.
In the movie, it was done by Lucille Ball.
Now, why didn't it go to Angela Lansbury?
Because Lucille Ball was a gigantic
star
icon.
I see.
And Angela Lansbury, before Murder, She Wrote, was not a household name.
Oh.
She was a successful
actor,
leading lady,
right.
but she wasn't a household name.
I see.
Lucille Ball was a notorious chain smoker. She smoked her entire life. And when you listen to her sing in MAME, she can barely get through the songs.
Oh, really?
And apparently, her takes were all spliced together because she didn't have the capacity to sing an entire song from beginning to end. And she was in her 60s when the film was shot, and there's all this gauze around the camera.
Oh, no.
Everything is shot in this extreme soft focus.
I see.
To make her look younger.
Okay, so I guess it didn't get a great review.
It's one of the most notorious failures.
Wow.
The movie version.
Right.
It does, but again, it does have B. Arthur in it as the best friend.
Okay. And did she originally?
She did.
Oh, she originated
So if
the role.
nothing else, it's useful because it preserves B. Arthur's performance.
And does she do a good job?
She's great.
Okay.
She's wonderful.
Wow. Any musicals you look forward to seeing? That are perhaps coming out?
I'm very excited about Warpaint.
Oh, what's that about?
It's about the rivalry between Elizabeth Arden, who the cosmetics, the makeup.
Oh my goodness!
And Helena Rubinstein, who was also a makeup titan, and they're being played by Christine Ebersole.
Who's that?
She did Grey Gardens.
Okay.
And you would recognize her. Okay. She's done a million sitcoms and movies. And Patti LuPone.
Who is famous because... didn't she play Evita?
She sure did. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So who's doing this? Who's like, when is this coming out?
The spring. So it's coming out, I think, in April on Broadway.
Now, the reason I'm finding this very exciting is, if I'm not mistaken... Was it Elizabeth Arden? I'm just looking this up as we speak. Was born in the town that I lived in.
She's Canadian.
She's Canadian. She's from Woodbridge, Ontario.
I didn't know she was from Woodbridge. I knew she was Canadian.
I've mentioned her before because I grew up in Woodbridge.
You sure did.
Which is part of Vaughan, the city of Vaughan, and she's from that area. So I'd be interested to see this too, if they reference it at all.
Well, they do reference her heritage.
Okay.
And she's a girl from. I mean, at the time, I think Woodbridge was the middle of nowhere.
It was just farms.
In the 1930s.
I mean, it was farms up until the early 80s. It was just farmland, right?
Yeah. So it's literally a girl from
the farm,
from
Podunk,
Podunk,
right?
Yeah, who became this icon. So.
Well, Daniel, thank you so much. You're the icon of all things theater to me.
You are my icon, Marco.
There you go. Daniel Krolik, you can check him out. badgaymovies.com. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
As always, we are produced by Drumcast Productions, and this particular episode was recorded in Toronto, Canada.